Writing is hard. Actually, no, it's not. If you listen to Dean Wesley Smith, he says that writing is basically sitting in a room making stuff up. And it is. I mean, that's the easy part. You put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard and make stuff up. It's simple. Writing well is hard. I will be the first to admit that some of my stuff isn't as good as some of the top-notch writers. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy them. Buy my books. It kind of irks me when you get people all over the internet saying, George Martin should hurry up and write Winds of Winter, we're never going to see Dream of Spring, and all this sort of stuff. It's like, have you read these books? Each one is about 3 or 4 novels in one. And I'm not just talking length, I'm talking structure as well. I mean, you could easily split each book into, 3 or 4 novels, and each one on its own would have its own story. In fact, I think when they were trying to make a film of it instead of a HBO series, they wanted to just concentrate on Jon's story, and that was it. And they could theoretically do that. In fact, I'm fairly certain you could just take, Jon Snow's story from Game of Thrones and make a coherent story out of that. So basically what George Martin is doing is he's writing about 5 novels, and that's difficult enough in its own, and then he's also got to try to weave them together, make sure they all make sense, make sure themes and characterization are consistent, which is something that they didn't necessarily do in the last season, but I wouldn't go into that. And he's got a lot to live up to. So yes, it's going to take a long time. Yes, it has taken 8 years since the last book. Could it take, another decade for the next one? Possibly. But there's also this other thing that, me as a writer has also experienced. You tend to get burned out. You're writing the same book, and trying to get to a place you want to be, but you don't know how to do it, you don't know where the characters are going to go, you get stuck, and you take your mind off it. You do other projects. This is what George Martin has done. I mean, he wrote Fire and Blood and other things, but a lot of those other stories are just basically stuff he's already written, or just kind of fine-tuned and just thought, let's just work on this bit while I get my thoughts in order for Winds of Winter. And it is frustrating when people are going around saying, oh no, George is being lazy, he's not writing the books, he's just waiting on. No, this is like his magnum opus. No, that's not how an artist works. You want to make the best product you can, and one of those is that you just take time on it, or you go to other projects while you're thinking about the other one. You come back to it with a fresh eye and you think, now I know what to do. And of course, in the last 10 years, his popularity has skyrocketed, and he's wanted in many other places, and yes, he's got other things that he has to do as well, and he's approaching the end of the series. So yeah, I think we need to just cut him a bit of slack, really. He'll get around to writing. I'm not really a betting man, but I would probably put money on Winds of Winter coming out sometime next year. I know he's said it many, many times, but I do think there's a genuine chance of it happening. So yes, I reckon it's going to come out. Will Dream of Spring come out? I would say yes. Yes. When? I don't know. What also frustrates me is, people saying, oh no, George is going to die before he's going to finish the books. I actually find that kind of insulting if I was him. The only reason I exist is to write books for you, and it's just like, just Just don't. Yes, it is annoying. It's happened with one of my favourite series, The Wheel of Time, before. The author died before he was able to finish it. It is unfortunate. But it happens because, unfortunately that is life. Tolkien died before he managed to finish the Silmarillion. It still wasn't finished to his liking. And what we have got is basically his notes put together. I mean, Tolkien had his son was able to put his notes together into the Silmarillion. When Robert Jordan died, Brandon Sanderson took up writing the rest of the series. George Martin saying that he doesn't want anybody to do that. Personally, I would like somebody to finish it off, but I can understand why he wouldn't, because it's it's his story. He doesn't really want anybody else to do anything with it, at least not in a literary form. But yes, he is in the winter of his life. And yes, it is a possibility that he may not be able to finish the series. But to say that he's lazy, that he's not doing his job to write the series before he dies, I mean, seriously, how many of you will be working when you're 70? Really? Just give him a bit of a break, really. He'll finish it when he's finished it. I still hope, Dream of Spring will come out. I do think he's gonna, at the very least, write a huge chunk of it pretty soon. As I say, Winter is probably gonna come out next year. And yeah, he doesn't have commitments with the show anymore. He says he's going to concentrate on writing Dream of Spring, and I do reckon we're going to get it. But even if we don't, we've had some fantastic books, some of the best fantasy books that have ever been written, and some of the best stories that we've ever had. And yes, it may not be finished, but it's not always about the end. I mean, really, Game of Thrones didn't end that brilliantly. I still thought it was watchable. It just wasn't as good as it had been. But it doesn't stop the fact that you had some really, really good stories, some really good scenes, some really good characters, at the beginning, through the middle. It doesn't really take away from that, I don't think. I mean, you could pretend that they don't exist if you want to. I mean, it's like Firefly got cancelled. That's still a fantastic programme. It didn't really have an ending. I mean, yes, it had Serenity, which, worked as an ending. You could have just had those episodes and it would have been good. I mean, there were a lot of unanswered questions, but it still worked. There are a lot of unfinished things and unfinished art. Maybe A Song of Ice and Fire won't ever be completed, but it doesn't stop you from enjoying what's already come before.